Hey everyone, and welcome back to the Crypto Analyst channel. My name is Brendan, and I hope all of you are having a great day no matter where you are from. And it seems like everything is falling right now. It doesn't matter if it's Bitcoin or altcoins or even indices or stocks, because even as we speak, the DXY is falling, which is supposed to be inversely correlated to everything else on that list. So it's quite the unique time where it seems like everything, even the things that are supposed to be going up right now, are still falling. And we're going to take a look at this in just a second, but I want to break down what the true potential of this bear market is and how it really can get a whole lot worse if we don't hold this final support level that I'm going to show you in today's video. So as we can see right now, Bitcoin over here, Bitcoin's pretty red on the day already. It's down about 1.5%. Nasdaq is already down 2% on the day. And the DXY, while it isn't down that much, you have to remember that this is the US dollar index, but it's down a little bit in the red as well. It rejected that 103, 104 area. And I'm going to explain why this is significant, because this has been one of the biggest rejection points in the last 5 to 10 years for the DXY. So if we want to talk about what's happening on Bitcoin, because I'm sure that's why a lot of you are here, what happened yesterday is sad news that we actually ended up breaking downwards out of our secondary, smaller rising channel over here. So what happened was we went from resistance to support, back up to resistance to support, resistance, so on and so forth. And eventually we ended up breaking down out of this guy yesterday and falling down to primary support. Now, the reason that I haven't taken this off the chart yet is because we haven't seen any kind of a rejection off of this area. I would imagine that since this was former support 3 separate times, that this could now be used as former support turn resistance. So what I'm really waiting for here is to see if we bounce off primary support, reject that secondary support again, and then fall down and kind of have like a break, cook, and go formation. So that's what I'm watching out for right now. That's the reason I haven't taken this guy off of the chart yet. And of course, this is still a resistance line, so I don't think I'm going to take this one off quite yet, at least until we show that a touch of this point would be above the heart line of this larger channel that we're looking at over here. So with Bitcoin over here, really kind of looking at 34K as its last major support area. I really think it needs to hold above 34K or else it's going to $30,000. And from right where we're sitting at right now, that would be a drop of around, I don't know, maybe another 14, 15% to the downside, give or take where we're at by the end of this video. But that could be, pretty nasty. No one wants to see another 15%. And if 30K breaks, I think we will violently flush into the 20,000s and then immediately rally back upwards. I do not think an extended bear market in the $20,000 range is something that we're going to see unless something brutal. I almost said brutally brutal, but yeah, if something brutally brutal happens, then that's the only way I see us staying in the 20,000s. And if there's some way that in some alternate dimension that we get into the teens again, I just don't see anything holding down there without major funds starting to get liquidated and major players also starting to get liquidated. So it's going to be a very interesting time for Bitcoin and stocks and everything else, but Bitcoin has been very closely correlated to Nasdaq. And yesterday we saw a little bit of diversity in that original plan, because what we were actually seeing over here, and I want to move and make sure my head's not covering too much of this, but what was happening is there is this major support on Nasdaq that I've talked about a lot on this channel, where we bounced off of this area, what is this, about 1300, 3 different times now, 3 different macro times. And so I'm betting that if this support breaks, which it looks like it is currently doing, this could get really violent for Nasdaq as well, because the next support isn't until around, maybe around, 12,300. And so, that's a whole lot farther to the downside than I think what people are used to. And so that could be another 3% on the indices, which at the end of the day isn't massive. It could probably be maybe 6 to 10% on something like Bitcoin. But this is a dangerous time, because as we see these major support levels potentially breaking on Bitcoin and Nasdaq and everything else, it gets even weirder, because the thing that has been completely inversely correlated to all of this, the DXY, which I love covering on this channel, is also in the red. And so I'm struggling to find out here, is this a bear trap? Is this a bull trap? What in the world is happening at this point? Because if there's anything that's going to start this Bitcoin rally back up to all-time highs, it's going to be the DXY seeing a massive rejection. Now, the good news here is that the DXY has not broken out yet. We've rejected this area for over a week now. It has not been able to break really and hold above 103, 104, and as of right now, we're sitting right in that 103 level. And so, with more than a week of rejection from this area, I do see a little bit of light, but this is such a recipe for a volcanic eruption across all markets. If number one, if Nasdaq breaks support, volcanic eruption to the downside. If Bitcoin breaks support, volcanic eruption to the downside. If Nasdaq, or excuse me, not if Nasdaq, if the DXY breaks its support, it's a volcanic eruption to the upside. And if it breaks its resistance, then it's a volcanic eruption to the downside for everything else. So there's so many different things to watch here, and there's so many different ways that this can play out. There's no easy way to be like, oh, I'm bullish here, or oh, I'm bearish here. Because there's seriously like 5 different macro ways that this could go, depending on which way all 3 of these different charts break, and that just creates a really complicated situation. So I don't like to make my videos too complicated. I think that I am beginning to rant just a little bit, but I want to show kind of the macro of what's happening in here because, seriously, there are a million ways that this could go. We could tank through support, we could break above resistance again over here on Bitcoin, we could have a break, hook, and then go formation and continue to the downside. Nothing could happen on Bitcoin and something could happen on DXY on both a down and an upside. And then the same goes with Nasdaq. We could hold this macro support and absolutely rally like 5% on an indice, which could be like 15% for Bitcoin. Or the floor could drop out on Monday, which, it doesn't look like it's going to happen today, but the floor could drop out on like Monday or Tuesday, and then things could get volatile that way. So, I'm not kidding when I say that there's a lot of different ways, probably half a dozen different ways that this could go. But what a volatile time on the charts. Now, I've been talking about this over in the Crypt Nation group. Again, I throw it in here in pretty much every video because I think it is something that is really useful. So if you're not part of the Crypt Nation group and you want to get early access to everything that I just talked about in this video, make sure you go ahead and check out the link in the description down below, and you can see what's happening over in Crypt Nation. It's a community of thousands of different like-minded individuals, one of which I'm one of the analysts for, and so I'm always throwing stuff in there and speaking. So it's a pretty cool group. So if you're interested in learning more about this and getting deeper into the space, I think that's the place to do it. But that's going to round us up for this video. Key momentum here and key indicators going into this weekend. Number one, watch the support and resistance levels on Bitcoin because DXY and Nasdaq are going to be frozen over the weekend. And number two, when the Monday and Tuesday open, when the Sunday night open happens and the Monday morning open happens for the futures market on Sunday night and for traditional markets on Monday morning, those are going to be 2 of the most impactful opens. And that will be Sunday night at 6 p.m. Eastern time and then, Sunday night at 6 p.m. Eastern time and then Monday morning at 9:30 a.m. Eastern time. So those are going to be 2 very, very big moments to watch out for as we do open up next week on the traditionals. But, maybe Bitcoin does get a little bit volatile. I would say that if Bitcoin starts rapidly tanking over the weekend, it's probably a sign, in my opinion, that traditionals are going to tank as soon as the market opens. And just because Bitcoin can move when the traditionals can't, and Bitcoin and cryptos never close. But that's my thoughts on this. Again, there's really no easy answer to say whether I am just full-on bullish or full-on bearish. It's really just a situation of if this happens, then this could happen, and then about 6 of those different scenarios. So I hope you all did enjoy. If you did, again, make sure to hit that like and subscribe button. We have content like this one coming out every single week, and hopefully you find it helpful. But again, smack that like button, smack that subscribe button, and I will see all of you in the next video.